The art of saying no, protecting your budget. A read to build audio episode. Hey there, and welcome back to Read to Build, the show where we turn money talk into something you can actually use, no matter where in the world you are listening from, or how much you already know about finance. Today we are talking about a word that's only two letters long, but somehow feels like the hardest word to say out loud when a waiter asks if you want to dessert, or when a flashy sale notification lights up your phone at midnight. That word is no. Specifically, we are exploring the art of saying no to small, sneaky expenses so you can say a confident yes to the big goals that actually matter to you. A home, a wedding, a business, or a retirement on your own terms. Think of this episode as a toolkit. 10 practical connected ideas that build on each other, moving from understanding why we overspent to actually building the discipline to stop. Grab your tea, your coffee, your morning walk, or your evening commute. Let's get into it. Point number one, the real cost of it's just a small amount. Let's start with the stinkiest trap in personal finance. The belief that the small purchases don't matter. A cup of coffee, a streaming subscription, the impulse snack at checkout counter. Each one feels harmless in isolation, and that's exactly the problem. Money doesn't leave your account in dramatic single blows. It leaks out in tiny, forgettable trips. Consider Maria, a teacher in Manali, who spends about $3 a day on convenience store snacks during her commute. That feels like nothing, right? But over a year, that habit quietly consumes over $1,000, enough for a plane ticket home to see family or solid emergency fund. The lesson here is not to feel guilty about every small purchase. It's to recognize that small, repeated choices compound into large outcomes, just like interest does. Once you see spending as a pattern rather than a series of isolated moments, you start making decisions with the full picture in mind, not just the 5 seconds in front of the cashier. Next, point number two, understanding why saying no feels so hard. Now that we know small expenses add up, let's talk about why resisting them is so difficult in the first place. Because willpower alone rarely wins the battle. Our brains are weird for instant gratification. The reward right now feels far more real and urgent than a goal that's months or years away. This is why a new pair of shoes feels more exciting today than a fatter retirement account you won't touch for decades. Add to this the constant nudges of modern life. One click checkouts, limited time offers, and social media feeds showcasing everyone else vacations and gadgets. And you will got an environment practically engineered to make saying no feel unnatural. Take a young professional in Accra who finds himself buying gadgets he doesn't need every time. He scrolls through online marketplaces late at night. It's not a lack of intelligence or discipline. It's biology meeting a system built to exploit it. Recognizing this dynamic is empowering because once you understand the mechanism, you can build guardrails around it instead of relying on sheer unsustainable willpower. Next, point number three, reconnect with your why before you say no. Here's the truth, saying no is so much easier when you have a clear, emotionally meaningful yes waiting on the other side. If your goal is just save money, that's vague and forgettable in the heat of tempting purchase. But if your goal is I am saving for my daughter's university fees or I am building a fund to start my own bakery, that becomes a pivot. Personal reason to pause. Take Digio, a rideshare driver in Bogota, who tapped a photo of his future food truck to his dashboard. Every time he considered an unnecessary purchase, that photo reminded him what he was really working toward. This is called future self connection. In behavioral finance, and it works because it makes abstract future feel present and real. Before you can master saying no to small expenses, spend time getting brutally specific about your big goal. Write it down, visualize it, attach a number and date to it. That clarity becomes your anchor every single time temptation knocks. Next to point number four, the 24-hour rule, creating space between impulse and action. One of the simplest, most powerful tools for resisting spending temptation is deceptively basic. Wait 24 hours before making any non-essential purchase. Impulse buying thrives on urgency and emotion, and both tend to fade significantly once a little time passes. When you see something you want, now sneakers, a kitchen gadget, an upgrade to your phone, write it down instead of buying it immediately, and revisit that list the next day or even after a week for bigger items. Ria, a nurse in Mumbai, keeps a simple note on her phone titled "Wait and see." She found that roughly 7 out of 10 items she wanted in the moment no longer feel necessary a day later. This is not about permanent denial, it's about separating emotional impulse from intentional decision making. The rule works because it interrupts the dopamine driven urge to buy immediately, giving your rational brain a chance to catch up with your emotional brain and weigh in on the decision. Next, point number 5, redesign your environment so saying no requires less effort. If willpower is limited, the smartest move is to reduce how often you need to use it, and that starts with redesigning your environment. Unsubscribe from promotional emails that tempt you daily. Delete shopping apps from your phone's home screen. Or better yet, delete them entirely and only access them through a browser when truly needed. Turn off one-click purchasing options. These are not extreme measures, they are friction. Deliberately added back into a system designed to remove all friction from spending. Tom, a retiree in Manchester, noticed he was buying gadgets he didn't forget about within days, simply because ads followed him everywhere online. After installing an ad blocker and unfollowing brand accounts, his impulse purchases dropped dramatically without him trying harder at all. This point connects directly to the last one. The 24-hour rule works even better when your environment is not constantly pushing you to decide in the moment. Design your surroundings so that the easy path is one that protects your goals, not the one that drains them. Next, point number 6, budgeting for joy. Give yourself permission to spend intentionally. Here's something that might surprise you. The art of saying no is not about saying no to everything, it's about saying yes on purpose. A budget that only restricts with zero room for enjoyment is a budget designed to fail because depreciation eventually triggers rebellion, often in the form of a bigger, less controlled splurge. Instead, build a small, guilt-free joy fund into your monthly budget. An amount to decide in advance is fine to spend however you like. No questions asked. Fatima, a graphic designer in Cario, allocates a modest weekend fund purely for coffee shop visits and small treats, and because it's planned, she never feels deprived and she never overspends beyond it. This connects beautifully with our earlier point about your why. When your big goal is funded first, the guilt-free spending that remains becomes something to enjoy rather than feel anxious about. Saying no to random impulse spending becomes far easier when you are already said planned controlled yes to enjoyment elsewhere. Next, point number 7, the power of the pause and compare technique. When temptation strikes, one of the most effective mental tricks is to translate the price of the item into something more meaningful. Compare it directly against your goal. This is not about shaming yourself for wanting things. It's about giving your brain accurate, private information to make a better decision. If your jacket costs $60, ask yourself, how many hours of work does that represent? What percentage of my emergency fund goal does that eat into? When a warehouse worker in Melbourne started mentally converting purchases into hours of my life and found that a $40 impulse buy suddenly felt like 4 hours of physically demanding labor, not nearly as appealing once framed that way. This technique works because our brains respond more powerfully to concrete comparison than abstract numbers on a price tag. Pair this with 24-hour rule from earlier and you will build a genuinely strong defense system. Time to cool down plus a clear-eyed comparison of true cost versus true value. Next, point number 8, track your spending without judgment. You can't say no effectively to something you are not even tracking. Many people avoid looking closely at their spending because it feels uncomfortable or shameful, but tracking is not about punishment. It's about awareness, plain and simple. When you write down every expense, even the small ones, patterns emerge that were previously invisible. Maybe it's the daily taxi ride you could occasionally swap for public transport, or the subscription you forget you were paying for, Amara, a small business owner in Lagos, started a simple weekly habit of reviewing her spending every Sunday evening. Without judgment, just observation. Within 2 months, she stopped, spotted, and cancelled three unused subscriptions and redirected that money straight into her business reinvestment fund. This connects directly back to point number one. You can only find the it's just a small amount trapped once you can actually those small amounts adding up in front of you. Awareness, not restriction, is often the real turning point in gaining control over spending. Next, point number nine, build accountability into your journey. Saying no gets significantly easier when you are not doing it entirely alone. Sharing your financial goals with a trusted friend, partner, or family member creates a layer of gentle accountability that pure willpower can't match. This does not mean asking permission for every purchase. It means having someone who knows your why and can check in, encourage you, or simply celebrate progress with you. Consider Lars and his sister in Stockholm, who check in with each other monthly about their separate saving goals. One saving for a home deposit, the other for a career change. Neither controls the other spending, but knowing someone else is aware of the goal adds a quite motivating pressure that makes impulse purchases feel harder to justify. This point ties back to point 3. Your why a goal shared with someone else becomes more real, more concrete, and harder to abandon quickly. Community, even a community of two, turns saying no from an isolated struggle into a shared supported practice. Next, point number 10, celebrate the wins, reinforce the behavior that works. Finally, and this is crucial, don't just track what you spent, track what you successfully did not spend, and celebrate it. Every time you resist an impulse purchase and redirect that money toward your goal, you are building a habit, and habits are reinforced by recognition and not just a discipline. Keep a simple running tally of money saved by saying no and watch it grow alongside your goal. Yuki, a university student in Osaka, keeps a small jar, physically and digitally, labeled with her study about goal, and every time she keeps an unnecessary purchase, she transfers that exact amount to her savings app immediately. Watching the number climb in real time, this creates a powerful feedback loop. Saying no longer feels like loss. It feels like active progress towards something you deeply want. This final point brings together everything we are covered. You are clear why your environment, your tracking, your accountability, all converging into a simple, satisfying habit of watching small no's transform into one enormous yes at last. And there you have it, 10 connected ideas that together form a real practical art form. The art of saying no, from recognizing how small expenses quickly compound, to understanding the psychology behind temptation, to designing your environment, budgeting for joy, and celebrating every small win along the way. None of these ideas work in isolation, but stacked together, they become a genuinely powerful system. Remember, this is not about restriction for its own sake. It's about protecting the space for the things that matter most to you. Whatever you think your biggest happens to be, wherever you are listening from today, whatever stage of your financial journey you are on. I hope today's episode gave you something practical to carry into your next moment of temptation. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who might need to it too. And I'll catch you in the next episode of Free to Build. Until then, keep building one intentional no at a time. Thank you.